Hello Lord of the Rings fans, this is a tips and tricks guide for those looking to pick up Shadow of War. I'll be going through a bunch of tips that can make your progress through Mordor that much easier. Let's go through some early game tips to get you going, and a lot of small tricks I learned to make the game a bit easier and a lot less stressful. Starting with eliminating captains. The first area of the game works more as a tutorial, but once you get going, you'll want to focus on taking out as many captains as you can. It's not really possible to play through Shadow of War's main campaign straight through. When you eventually hit a level cap and are stuck fighting a boss for 45 minutes, that's when you'll have to rank up quickly to get back into the story, which this time around is a lot more entertaining. What I suggest is to take out the surprisingly easy captains and without too many deaths. This makes it so that they don't get more difficult with each passing death, and the other side missions don't give you as much XP and simply aren't as fun. Don't do the monument missions that throw 250 XP at you, and do not waste your time with the lost artifacts that have you running around the map for a skill point or two. Now you technically don't have to start by hunting and slaughtering the first line of captains in the army menu. While the captains that are closer to the war chief obviously render more XP, they'll take upwards of 20 minutes or more to take out, and they're usually surrounded by other captains that can be just as pesky. You'll want to quickly and efficiently take out the really low level captains and make your way up the food chain. This is especially important for those who don't want to be distracted away from the main campaign missions. I found it a little frustrating when I wanted to go through the story for a few hours before coming up against an impossibly difficult boss. If you just spend a few hours running through these captains, you'll be able to get through a good portion of the campaign at the appropriate level and with a whole bunch of abilities you've earned from spending skill points, which leads us to the next tip, the ranged arrow-focused skill tree. I'm the type of gamer that hates choosing the mage class or any other long-range focused one that gets me away from up-close combat. I took the same approach with Shadow of War until I realized just how overpowered the ranged arrow-focused abilities are in the game. While there are a few abilities you should invest in early on, like the Brutalize ability and being able to mount Caragors and other creatures, after about 5 or 6 skill points spent in other areas, you'll want to go all out with the ranged abilities. Even though a good portion of captains are resistant to arrows, it's not them that you'll be shooting at directly. Campfires and explosive barrels are scattered throughout the land of Mordor, and with the help of your super elven speed, you can simply lead a horde of hideous orcs into a trap before setting them alight. Imagine trying to take down all the civilians in a Hitman level, and then imagine there were explosive barrels everywhere. You're going to find yourself surrounded by 2 or 3 dozen orcs a lot of the time, and there's simply no better feeling than taking out a whole mess of them, along with some captains for good measure, with one shot of an arrow or a well-timed super ability near some barrels. Like the previous game, Shadow of War gives the player a few hints when it comes to taking down bosses. Read the strengths and weaknesses. Now this one should go without saying, but there are some UI issues that get in the way. The game informs the player that they can scroll up and down to read the few hints when fighting a captain, but it doesn't tell you that you can also move left and right for even more info. Info that you can acquire by interrogating the orcs with the green icons on the map. While it might look like a wall of text that's postponing a great boss fight, it's vital to read these hints if you want to get the most out of these battles, especially when coming up against more than one captain. For example, if a captain can be fatally wounded with a stealth blow but ambushes you, then you can simply, as previously mentioned, just run away and track them down later when stealth options are available. Or when a specific captain has a powerful arrow or a certain melee combination that you can watch out for in order to be able to see the animation and dodge the attack before it strikes you. Talion isn't Superman, so a few consecutive mistakes can turn the tide of battle and have you wishing you would have done a little more homework. Instead of taking them on as soon as the small cutscene plays, let fleeing captains run away before tackling them. If you try to fight them where they stand, there will simply be too many distractions to have to deal with. Letting them flee to an open area makes for an easy kill, and the dumb orc AI are too slow or too stupid to catch up. You can always abuse the chokehold ability. Simply grab enemies with RB or R1 and toss them to their deaths. Finally, triggering all the fast travel points is going to save you a lot of time. Don't let the game trick you with the super fast sonic speed or the ability to hop on Caragors. The world is much larger than it seems, and it took me far too long to realize how much faster it would have been to just load up on the other side of the map. Well, that's all the small tricks I've learned in Shadow of War to help you get started. The game is almost made to be exploited, so always be thinking of ways that you can make the mission or a kill a little bit easier. Make sure to check out COGconnected for more Shadow of War guides and our official review. Thanks for watching.